Hi and welcome back to Small Planet Picks. Now in this video I'm going to take you through some really simple tips and suggestions for planning your next safari trip. Now this is purely based on my own experiences of traveling to numerous safari locations in Southern Africa. So my first tip is what to wear. You've probably noticed that most of the safari guides and drivers wear certain shades of khaki green, beige and maybe brown clothing. There's a reason for this, as certain colours help to deter some insects. For example, black and blue surfaces can attract the tsetse fly more than other colours, so avoid blue and black clothing will certainly help keep away some of the insects. So most of the safari guides will wear kind of neutral, beige, khaki sort of coloured clothing. Generally for a reason, as these colours are quite neutral and they'll be relatively inoffensive to some of the animals around you. While you don't have to pack all khaki clothes, you should try and stick to soft colours and earth tones such as tan, beige, pale green, brown and khaki. Camouflage clothing is actually banned in some African countries, so avoid packing army camouflage style clothes. So turning up in a bright pink jacket might deter some animals from kind of wandering close to your vehicle. And also avoid wearing white or really bright colours, as this can also be quite glaring and it might put some animals off. Take loose fitting clothing, closed shoes or boots, remember your hat and sunglasses, and bring a coat or jacket for the evenings. Remember to pack waterproof clothing, really important. Even though it's Africa, it does rain quite a lot at certain times of the year, so having waterproof gear will help keep you dry. You're going to need lots of sun cream and lots of insect repellent. The sun in certain parts of Africa can be extreme, so make sure to pack plenty of sun cream. I would advise factor 50 or factor 30 depending on your skin type, but just make sure that you've got enough for the duration of your trip. The insects, as mentioned already, can be relentless and even worse at certain times of the year, so make sure to take plenty of insect repellent. Try and find something with a high level of DEET, as mosquitoes can be extremely active during evening safari drives. Also pack some hand sanitizer, as you may have to use the African toilet out in the bush. So just to give you some examples of insect repellents, this one is a sort of botanical, this is a plant-based repellent. This one is one we use quite a lot in Australia, which is a tropical antiseptic. Bite protection, repels and protects insect bites. We also have these mosquito patches, they work quite well, so really is down to you what you pack, but just find something that you know is going to work. Really important thing to bring with you is sort of medications. Just make sure that you pack really simple kind of sort of travel first aid kits. Only really has to be really simple things like plasters and alcohol wipes, and this is iodine pre-pads, and also antiseptic kind of ointments and things like that. Your lodge is probably going to have like first aid kits and stuff like that. Even your driver and your guide has probably got something in the car, but it's always worth bringing your own stuff with you. And if you're going out on a safari drive, you can pack these into your bag. The bag just stays in the car, so you're not having to kind of carry a lot of stuff around with you. It generally stays in the vehicle. Also bring with you, real basic, simple stuff like ibuprofen, paracetamol, aspirin, things like that, just in case you suddenly start feeling ill. It's also recommended to take malaria tablets. This is hydroxychloroquine. You can remember Donald Trump talking about this way back in 2019 or 2020 as a cure for COVID-19. It's not a cure for COVID-19. It's anti-malaria treatment. So it's best to make an appointment with your doctor weeks in advance, and he or she will advise you on the best type of malaria kind of medication. But you can also buy them from any pharmacy over the counter. And there's various different types. There's ones that you take every week during your trip, or there's one that you take like 4 weeks, every week for 4 weeks before you arrive in Africa, or there's ones that you take sort of every day. So it really does depend on what's been advised for you to take. It's also recommended that you take your vaccinations. And again, give yourself around 6 weeks preparation, because things like hepatitis C is done in sort of 2 or 3 stages. So it's always good to give yourself plenty of time. This is my yellow fever vaccination passport, I guess. So this lists all the vaccinations that I've had, and that includes hepatitis C, yellow fever, typhoid, Tdap, and various others, and it's all listed in this document. So if you're traveling in between various African countries, they may ask for proof of your vaccinations, and yellow fever in particular. That's a really important one. So it's really important to have your yellow fever vaccination. There was one occasion when I was arriving in Zimbabwe. So it was a land border in Zimbabwe, and they did ask for the yellow fever certificate or proof of yellow fever vaccination. So it's really important that you have this with you and you have all your vaccinations up to date. Again, it's a simple case of just consulting your doctor, and they will advise on what you need to take. So just make an appointment, give yourself at least 6 weeks time before your actual trip, so that you've got plenty of time to have all the vaccinations and all the preparations in place. There are so many more tropical viruses and diseases that have no cures or preventions. Make sure that you can protect yourself from the ones that do have preventions. Becoming ill in Africa can be unbelievably expensive, so make sure that you have a fully comprehensive travel insurance policy in place before you leave. Booking accommodation. Now I've got various tips and suggestions for accommodation for African safaris. Try and do a face or voice call with your booking agent, as this will help clear up any questions you have much quicker than by email or by WhatsApp messaging. The agent will also have a much better idea about you and what to suggest for your safari trip. Always try and book through a reputable tour company, regardless of extra fees involved. This could actually save you a lot of money in the long run if you need to change your itinerary. Research the lodges and accommodations, as the most expensive isn't always the best. I found lodges much cheaper that had everything I needed or wanted from a safari trip, and I saved a load of money than compared to the higher end luxury camps. Almost all safari lodges will have these in place, but insist on mosquito nets in your accommodation. Also check the proximity of the accommodation with the actual entrance to the park, the closest airport and main roads. This could have a huge impact on how much time is actually spent doing activities instead of traveling. Some of the more established national parks do have landing strips for small aircrafts, so booking domestic flights can save a huge amount of time and can also be an amazing experience seeing the African wilderness from the air. However, this will impact your overall costs quite significantly, and you may have to pack slightly lighter than usual. International flights are not usually included in your package and will have to be booked separately, but sometimes internal domestic flights can be included. So it's worth checking on all travel options directly with your booking agent or representative at your lodge, as they may be able to help you. Also check the peak time of year for the park that you're visiting. There are always high and low seasons for different areas of Africa. This can vary, but generally a park will have a wet and a dry season. The dry season is generally considered the high season, as animal viewings, especially the big cats, are way more frequent. Some parks are also undrivable during the wet season and often closed down during these months. So do plenty of research before booking anything to make sure you're booking during the mid to high season for hotter and drier weather. A website that I've used quite a lot is safaribookings.com. This is a really fantastic resource for finding out the best time of year to visit certain parks. Or simply Google something like best time to visit Serengeti. Then you'll know exactly what the best time of year is to visit. Also, it's worth giving your contact details, the lodge and accommodation info, and emergency contacts to friends or family members before leaving, just in case something were to happen, which is unlikely, as safari trips are really quite safe. Obviously, you're going to be booking safari game drives, so there's several tips and suggestions I have for booking morning and full day and also evening game drives. Set an itinerary before arriving, so you have all your activities planned well in advance with your main guide and driver. If you can, I'd recommend using a private guide and vehicle for more convenience and for a better all-round experience. Sometimes when booking game drives through a safari lodge, they will book multiple guests into the same vehicle to keep the cost down, but also to maximize their own services. Personally, I prefer to spend the extra money and have a private vehicle. Make sure to mention this when booking if that's your preference. Otherwise, you'll be sharing with lots of other people. So in between game drives, you're going to want to have a bit of downtime at the lodge. Game drives can start very early in the mornings, and most animals are more active during these times. The evening time is also great for game drives. Therefore, you're better off just relaxing and having a bit of downtime during the day. Firstly, to avoid the scorching midday sun, And secondly, to avoid exhausting yourself. You're generally far more likely to see the big cats early morning or late afternoon, early evening than you are in the midday. So just take it easy at the lodge and just get plenty of rest and enjoy yourself. The lodges are generally quite expensive, so just make use of the facilities during the day and enjoy your stay. Most lodges will have Wi-Fi available, but from my experience, it can be a bit patchy. Really does depend on the location of the lodge. It's something that you can't always depend on. So make sure that you've brought something with you, like a book or some games or some puzzles or an iPad, or you've got like a laptop with some preloaded videos or movies that you can watch just to help sort of pass the time while you're at the lodge. The lodges are generally good fun and they cater for all age groups. Really important to have plenty of cash and also the right currency. Bring some currency in cash. US dollars are universally accepted, but euros and UK pound sterling are also good currencies to hold in cash. Having cash is good for tipping the drivers, guides, and also the staff at the lodge. Some people really depend on the tips, so try and be as generous as possible. Most lodges will now accept card payments, but expect a small surcharge for credit card payments. Something that you really must invest in before you go on safari is a decent camera. So if you're not a good photographer and you don't really want to learn all the technicalities, and you also don't want to spend like a significant amount of money on the latest DSLR or mirrorless cameras, then this is the one I would recommend. This is a Panasonic Lumix FZ2500, and it's a sort of compact bridge camera, and it has a 20 times optical zoom built in. It's also got optical stabilization and it produces some really, really good quality images. This camera is super lightweight, has a huge 20 times optical zoom, as I mentioned, image stabilization, and it's relatively easy to use and operate. And it will be way better than anything that your smartphone camera can do. I absolutely guarantee you that. So having a camera, and like I said, it doesn't have to be really expensive. You can get one off eBay or Amazon, like a pre-used or pre-owned one. Just anything that's going to help you get that kind of optical zoom, because a lot of the animals, they might be quite a long distance away. On some occasions, the animals do kind of roam towards the vehicle, but the guides and the drivers, they can't guarantee that's going to happen every occasion. So just make sure that you've got some really decent equipment so that you don't leave your safari vacation with a load of rubbish photos on your phone. Using an action camera or 360 camera is a great way to help document the overall experience, but you'll need a camera with a good zoom in order to see most of the wildlife. Binoculars can also help, but your driver or guide will most likely have a pair already in the vehicle that can be shared during game viewings. Using your smartphone is also great for when animals roam closer to the vehicle, but I wouldn't completely depend on the camera on your phone. Any real camera will produce better results than a smartphone camera. So these are my tips and suggestions for when planning your safari trip. Maybe it's a honeymoon or another kind of special occasion, or just a long-awaited vacation. Making sure you get everything right will definitely improve your overall experience. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope this video has been of some help and benefit in some way. Please make sure to give it a like, give it a share, and subscribe for more content.